Good greetings everyone, Ci Clubsport here. Welcome to another video. It's been a while. And as you can see, we are bonnet up on the ramps, and I'm down in the south of England at the moment, and a mechanic has lent me his garage for a couple of days. So I'm doing a radiator swap because it's needed. It's been needing it. So everything's been taken out, including the radiator, which is cool. This is just the air conditioning radiator thing. So anyway, yeah, that's all out, and it's just a case of putting it back together. This is the old radiator, and you can see now why I needed to bring it out. So it's been like this for maybe 2 years now. Let me just zoom in a little bit. No, not that much. Go back. So it was bowing a little bit at the bottom. Yeah, a little bit. Boeing 747. I had all this, I think, and look at this just coming out the side here. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just transferring the plastic off the side onto the other radiator. I've been following a 50s kid video on my battle-scarred laptop. We've drained out the fluid from, obviously, from the radiator and the expansion tank, and also the bolt that's on the engine casting at the bottom, by up between the exhaust, like the catalytic converter, and the steering rack. There's a bolt up there which you take off, and a shed load more of coolant comes out. So this thing is absolutely drained. I don't think there's a lot of coolant left in it now. Yeah, so all done. These are all the bits over here. There's all the fluid. A lot of it. So I've got the electric fan, piece of plastic that needs to go on the bottom of the radiator, along with the side bit. Now this is a good thing. The expansion tank here. This is the original one, guys. This is the original one. I can just show you here. It says, or it will say, BMW, look, 2002, right? The date of the car manufacturer. So you'd think, ooh, better change it, right? But honestly, it is absolutely solid. There's no signs of any impending doom at all. If I can just balance it on a tyre and get some... So yeah, it's dirty, obviously. It just needs a clean. But in terms of condition, I mean, it looks... It's absolutely fine. It really is. I can't see any signs of, you know, maybe something's going to happen. Nothing. Absolutely nothing here. So I'm going to keep it on. Original expansion tank. I'm trying to think where I got this from. Oh, this was off the ramp just now, yeah, today. This. Yeah, another phone that won't autofocus. Yeah. Yeah, so that's from today, unfortunately. But hey, that's what it's there for, right? It's there to protect us against things like that. So everything's been done. It's just a case of now reversing everything and putting everything back in the car again. Why can't phones autofocus on video? Hey, what is wrong with this? Yeah, so some of the pipes, the two that were on the expansion tank, were a bit of a bugger to get off, if I'm honest. You know, pulling the clips up and then getting them all on. I'm just going to pop the clips down again on the hoses. But yeah, a bit of a pain in the old derriere. I'm just popping all the clips down now for when they go back in, because they'll just slide back in, and then when I hear the click, I'll know that they're in there good. Oh man, you can see that my belts were done not so long ago. I did get a little bit of coolant on them, so I'm going to make sure that they are dry and as much as I can before everything goes back in. Not much else to say really. I'm not really going to show the process of me fitting it, because I'll show stages. I'm not really going to show the whole thing because I haven't got anything to hold the camera with, and you know, I kind of just want to get on with it right now. So like I said, I've got the garage for the rest of the evening and tomorrow, so I think I'm going to do a little bit now, and then I'll get the bulk of everything done tomorrow. I think what I'll do, because it's afternoon, it's mid-afternoon right now. I would say, I don't know what time it is, to be honest. Maybe around 5:30, 6 o'clock PM, obviously. Yeah. So that's it. I've been waiting to do this job for a couple of years now. I was given, well, I bought a second-hand radiator a couple of years ago, and it's just been sitting in my shed, waiting and waiting and waiting. And the day is finally here, because I'm just visiting family, and there's a mechanic around the corner, nice guy, but he said he was going to give me a hand. He did. He gave me a hand with a couple of hoses that were being a little bit difficult, and he's off tomorrow, so I've got the garage to myself, which is kind of nice. Don't get this opportunity every day. Yeah. So after this, the only jobs I'm going to want to sort out is the oil pan leak. I'm not sure if there's one in the oil pan gasket. I don't think so. I don't know if I can get focused in there. Let's see if I can put some light on. I mean, I don't think there's a leak in there. I've got a new oil pan. I've got a new oil filter housing gasket, but I don't know if the leak is coming from there. I think it is coming from the sump, because I don't think there's any wetness. I don't know what you think in there. Maybe a little bit. What do you think? I mean, it looks sparkly on the video, but it is dry in there. If it will let me focus in there. Sorry, I'm not Steven bloody Spielberg. I'm trying to find a focal point for it, but it won't have it. I'm trying. There we go. So yeah, but it looks like it's been there for years, and it's not like new stuff. So yeah, I'll be glad when this job's done. Actually, it's been needing to be done for quite a while. And that radiator, although it's got a different colouring here, although it doesn't look too bad from this angle. And if we look behind, it's okay. It's second hand, you know. I didn't go for a new one. There's my fan. So I'm doing this on a budget really, but I'll tell you what, it's in a damn sight better condition than this, and I've been running this for 2 years, best part of 2 years, if not more. This radiator's been, no, the radiator's been like this for at least 3 years now, must be, and it's all sticking up here, but I'll tell you what, it hasn't leaked a drop. It has not leaked a drop, nothing. But it needed doing, you know, because I'm 230 miles from home right now. So I'll feel more relaxed when I get the other radiator in, and I'm running on that. But I'm going to clean all in there while I've got the radiator out. So yeah, I'm going to get on with it anyway, and I'll keep you updated with any progress. So until then, bye for now. Okay, so the replacement radiator is in. It was fairly straightforward, just a case of making sure that things were in the slot. There's a little tab here where my finger is, and you can see there's a slot it has to go into, which it more or less has. And then you've got to get this top screw in, and then this screw in here on the other side. If I can get to my finger, where's my finger? There it is. And it just kind of slots in to where the power steering pipes are. Now my car's a manual, so if you've got an automatic, then your plastic bit here is going to be all different and have more stuff on. But yeah, radiator is in, and I've got my little things put on, didn't over tighten them, and that is not going nowhere. So I think that's going to be it for today for me, and I'll come back tomorrow and we'll get the expansion tank in, fix the hoses up. Gee, I think that's it. Yep, put all the hoses on, put the expansion tank back on, put the fan on and the air intake and everything. Fill her up with coolant, bleed it. We'll go through the bleeding process, which I'm not 100% on yet, but I think it's basically just a case of run the engine, air conditioning on hottest, and get all the bubbles out of the system. And we'll see how it goes. Make sure it doesn't overheat. Take it out for a run. Make sure it doesn't overheat. Keep topping it up. Take it out for maybe a half an hour spin. Check the level. So what I've got here is the BMW coolant, because this is what you have to have. There's no debates, right? Well, I know there's G48, but for me, I'd rather just go with the proper fluid. So 3 of these were given to me by BMW. So that is 4.5 litres. These are 1.5 each, so 4.5 there. This is a 5 litre distilled water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty one of these bottles into this Tesco water bottle. Okay, one of those will go in there. Then I'm going to refill this bottle with distilled water, and I'm going to pour that in, and that gives me a perfect 50-50 mixture. And then I'm going to do the same with the second bottle. So I'm going to end up with, actually it's going to be a bit too much, isn't it? Yeah, I might just do it one at a time, because that's going to be 6 litres. This only holds 5, this thing. So yeah, 1 bottle and then a bottle's worth of distilled water. So 3 litres, pour that in. Do the same with the second bottle, 50-50, pour that in. And then the third bottle, and we'll just pour the third one in, the third 3 litres, until we get to a level where it's telling me that it's full. And then we'll turn the engine on, let it run with the air conditioning on. That'll get the air bubbles out. Then we'll need to probably top it up. We should be good to go tomorrow. Yeah, but I'm going to wrap it up today, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And look at the clearance here, guys. It's basically lifted on its jack points, so it doesn't get closer than that. And obviously we need the wood underneath, because the car's so low that it was actually scraping on the Clubsport engine cover. because the CS one, I don't know if it's deeper than the normal 330. It is. This engine cover is different to a 330. That's why it has the CS on there. But yeah, it ended up scraping there, so we had to put it on the wood just to raise it that little bit more. But she's good. You know, she's absolutely fine. So I'm going to grab my... Do I need my jumper? I don't think so. I'm going to lock it, I know that. Yeah, I better lock it and put the bonnet down. And then tomorrow I will video my continuance. See you then. Hi, we're back. Yeah, I've got it all done. I'm sorry I couldn't video it, but I had somebody with me in the garage and I didn't want to do it, you know, with company. So we've got some smoke here, but don't worry. You can see a little bit there? That's just burning off the excess coolant that was all spilt underneath the car. There was a lot more of that before. It was steaming up proper. But yeah, it's just coolant. It's just spilt coolant burning off, I hope. So everything's done the bleeding. Car's been running now for about 10 minutes. And if we go to the temp gauge, it is bang on. Just where it needs to be. Perfect. Hi, so okay, this is a follow-up video that I'm tagging on the end of the radiator replacement. I'm now back home, been home a few days. The car's done 240 miles back here since, and done a bit more since then as well. Coolant temperature is still all good, everything is working as it should be, no leaks, nothing. So we're good. But I wanted to come back because I never got a chance to explain the bleed procedure. I know there's a few videos already on YouTube explaining it, but I'm going to do mine anyway because it's part of the procedure. I've seen different explanations. One about jacking the car up at the front so the front is higher. Yeah, I asked about that and I was told it wasn't necessary. So when I did mine, I kept the car level on that red ramp that you saw. So the upshot is that of course the expansion tank cap and the bleed screw here were taken off, and then it's just a case of what I did was I got I'm trying to think how I did this. I had a 5-litre water bottle that I'd used up. It was an empty one, and I poured in 1.5 litres of coolant. In other words, the first bottle. Poured in the first bottle, and then I got the distilled water and I filled up the coolant bottle. So I knew that it was another 1.5 litres, and I poured that in to the water bottle. So now in the water bottle I had 3 litres, which was 50-50 mixed, and I poured that in. And then I did the same with the second bottle, you know, to get an equal measurement. Again, just pouring the coolant into the water bottle, just empty bottle of water. There was no water in it, obviously. An empty plastic bottle, let's say. Pouring in the coolant into the empty plastic bottle, and then filling up the coolant bottle from BMW with distilled water, so that way I knew I had exactly 1.5 litres, and then I was able to pour that into the empty bottle, which was no longer empty. This is getting way too complicated. And then I ended up with 3 litres, give it a little mix around, and now I had another 3 litres, so that went in. And on the last one, it did take everything. It took all 3 bottles. But you're going to get to a stage where you just have to pour slowly, because it's going to look like it's filling up here, and you just have to pour slowly and let it settle back down in again. And then you'll get to a point where it's going to start coming out the bleed screw. The moment the fluid starts coming out the bleed screw, that's a sign that pretty much everything else is full up. Radiator, expansion tank, and the engine casing, or casting as I called it previously. Yeah. And then what's going to happen is you're going to, when it starts coming out of the bleed screw, you keep pouring into here, don't stop. Because what's going to start happening is the fluid's going to come out and you will get spillage. You're not going to be able to avoid it. The fluid's going to come out, the coolant's going to come out, and you're going to be getting bubbles coming out with it. So you have to keep filling up here until you see the bubbles stop coming out of here. Now you might get periods where the bubbles they'll go bloop, 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 and then you'll get nothing, and then maybe a second or 2 seconds later you'll get more bubbles. You have to keep going until the only thing that's coming out of here is fluid, no bubbles. And yes, this thing is probably going to be right up to the top. You just keep pouring in and it'll just keep coming out. And then at the moment this is just pure coolant and no more bubbling, then you immediately put the bleed screw back on. Okay, once the bleed screw is on, you'll probably find that this has got slightly more fluid in this part than it should have. It actually tells you here your min and max, so you want to really get it here so that the second bubble on the, let me see if I can take this off and show you. Okay, you want to have it so that this, let me see if I can just focus this here. It will not focus. Right, you see it's got a little bubble on the top, so there's a second one here. So that has to be level with the top of this rim here, so it would come to there. Mine's a bit lower than that because it's probably because it's cold or whatever. You can see it's still floating, it's still good. And the minimum is when this bubbly bit at the top is down there. That's your minimum. Don't take this cap off, by the way, when the car's hot. Let it cool down properly. So I may need to top up a little bit more. I've still got a lot of, I just top it up with distilled water because there's enough coolant in there now. It's got 4.5 litres of coolant in there, so I'll just top it up with distilled water right now. But this is it says on here cold, so this is where the level should be when it's cold. So I think I do need to top it up just a little bit since I've come back, so I probably will do that. It's only going to need such a tiny amount to get it to there. It's just going to need a couple of spoonfuls maybe. Yeah, so when the fluids come out, then what I did was you can use a turkey baster, but I got one of those. It looks like a syringe with a tube on it, and I just sucked out the excess coolant until this dropped down to this level. All right, so that's when you know you've got the correct level in the car. And then I replaced the cap. I should say though, once everything was done and sorted, I did drive to BMW and bought a new cap. It was £17.50 from BMW, and the other one was probably okay, but I bought the new one anyway because I think it's just practical to do so, even though I didn't replace the expansion tank, which is also practical to do so. And I took my water, my new water pump down with me, and I didn't replace that either, so I need to tighten that up later. I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so once you've got that done and both caps are on, the next step is to go inside the car. I guess we can do that. I'm going to need my key. Well, actually no. What you're going to do is you're going to put the key in. Oh, I can't get in the car. You're going to put they're going to put the key in, and you're going to turn it to ignition 2. So you're not going to start the car. Do not start the car. And then what you want is maximum heat. Okay. I don't think you need air conditioning. I didn't. I turned the air conditioning off, so it was just the heater. Maximum temperature, so for me it would be 32. Maximum all the way up, and the fan all the way to minimum. Right? Don't turn the fan off, just have it on the lowest setting. So the fan is still going, but it's on the maximum heat. And just leave it doing that for five minutes. Whoops, playing the life out of me. For 5 minutes, and you'll hear a noise in the engine, because the idea, I've got still little room to get out of this car when I'm holding a phone. The idea is that when you start the car, is to have it running so the thermostat opens up. That's what you need. So after you've had the heater on for 5 or 10 minutes, somewhere in between there, between 5 and 10 minutes, then start the car after that and just let it run idle. Keep an eye on the temperature. Make sure it doesn't go above the halfway point. It should sit slightly below halfway, but just make sure it doesn't go anything over that, and just keep it running. I left mine running for maybe 15-20 minutes, just idling there, and then I turned off, came back, waited for the car to cool a little bit, took the cap off, and then topped up if necessary back to this level, what it says there. And then I took it out for a spin, I don't know, 5 miles, 6 miles, whatever it was. Didn't go too far. It was maybe, would have been 15, 20 minutes drive. Brought it back again, parked the car up, and then the next day, because the engine was hot by then, so it wasn't at much point, and it was late in the day by then, so the next day I came to the car when it was cold, took the cap off and topped up again until the dipstick, let's call it, was at this level. And now it's just done 250 miles or so, all in all, I would say, since then. So it's probably going to need a tiny little bit of distilled water in there, or deionized water, same deal. And, well, yeah, it's I got deionized water, same thing. And that's it, and you're good to go, and that's all there is to the bleeding process. So the key thing is just keep pouring into here until the bubbles stop coming out of here, and then run the heater to get that thermostat open once the car started and you're going, and then just monitor your temperatures, and you should be good to go. So the bleeding process is what I was unsure about at the beginning, but before doing the job, I was, I hope I get it right. I don't want to mess that up, because it can be, you don't want to mess up the bleed procedure, because you can damage the engine. If you don't notice it heating up the engine, you can damage it. If you put too much in there, I believe, this cap holds 2 bar of pressure. I think it even says it there. It holds 2 bar. So anything, I think it's designed to leak out fluid if it gets too much pressure in there. So I think that's okay. Yeah, so that's it. She's back, and she's definitely running a-okay. No problem at all. And I feel better because my radiator is, it's not in that crap state that the previous one was in, and I feel a bit better knowing that the radiator I've got in is a bit more parallel. It's a bit more square on the edges, and it was a second-hand radiator, but it's holding. It's no problem. Clearly it's working. There's no leaks anywhere at all, in any of the tubes or the piping. down there. You might not be able to see unless I put the light on. Let me see. Yeah, there's no leaks down there whatsoever. And she's all good. All the hoses are good. Everything's clipped in. All of these that had to come off. Everything is absolutely spot on. So I'm really pleased that everything's worked out. Okay, that's going to be it. Sorry I couldn't show you more of me doing it, but I was kind of going at my own pace anyway, so it wouldn't have really been good for video use. And also, as I said, I had company with me, so yeah. All right then. Until then, bye for now and ciao.